Welcome back to the Deep Dive. And if you've been waiting for the exact moment where professional golf officially stopped being this quiet sport of traditions and really started acting like a global content engine.
Oh, we just lived through it.
We absolutely
Yeah.
did. The week ending February 22, 2026, Exhibit A, B, and C.
Yeah.
We had history being rewritten, we had party culture just exploding, and, high-altitude physics bending reality, all of it happening at the exact same time.
It really was the perfect illustration of that expanding global footprint concept we keep discussing. Usually you have one tour dominating the narrative for the week.
Right.
But looking at the map this past week, it was this fascinating blend of governance shifts, aggressive commercial strategies, and four completely distinct champions crowned across North America, Australia, East Africa, and Southeast Asia.
It's a ton to keep track of for you as a listener, but that's exactly why we're here. So here is the mission for this deep dive. We're going to unpack a historic comeback down under that, frankly, I wasn't sure we'd ever see.
I don't think anyone was sure.
Exactly. We're also going to look at a rookie breakthrough at Riviera. We'll dissect the booming business of dwell time and sports tourism and find out why everyone is suddenly hunting for 20-year-old mini drivers on eBay.
That equipment story is actually one of my favorites of the year so far. But yeah, we have to look at how all these moving parts fit into the bigger picture of this new global ecosystem.
Let's kick this off with the loudest signal in the noise. LIV Golf Adelaide. I mean, electric doesn't even seem to cover it anymore.
No, it doesn't.
It looked less like a golf tournament and more like a music festival, where a few guys just happened to bring some clubs.
It is becoming the benchmark for the modern event. They set another record this week with over 115,000 spectators across the 4 days. It really validates that festival first, golf tournament second model they've been betting on since day one.
But the massive story, the one lighting up every group chat I'm in right now, is Anthony Kim.
Oh, it is incredible. You have to pause and just appreciate the timeline here. He steps away, disappears into absolute mythology for nearly 16 years, returns, and now he takes the individual title in Adelaide.
And let's be clear, this wasn't a soft field or a relaxed exhibition match. He had to chase down giants.
That's the key right there. This wasn't a case of the leaders collapsing and handing him the trophy. Kim shot a final round 63.
Just wild.
That's 9 under par on Sunday. He birdied 4, 5, 7, and 9 just to close the gap. But the moment that really signaled he's back was the watering hole.
The par 3 12th.
Yes.
The party hole. Thousands of people screaming, music blaring, beer everywhere. That is not a normal pressure environment for a pro golfer.
Exactly. The sensory overload is immense.
Yeah.
He sticks it, nails the birdie to tie the lead, and the place just erupts.
You could see the emotion, too. The fist pumps were so visceral. He's been preaching this 1% better every day mantra for a while now, and to see it culminate in beating guys like Jon Rahm and Bryson DeChambeau, that is heavy stuff.
It validates the comeback in a way that just making cuts never could. And we really shouldn't overlook the team aspect there either. Ripper GC, Cam Smith's all-Aussie squad, winning on home soil with a 55 under total.
Mark Leishman and Lucas Herbert both in the top 10. The home crowd must have been losing their minds.
It cements that team equity concept. When you have 115,000 people cheering for a specific squad, that's a real commercial asset. It turns golf into a home team sport.
So we go from the absolute rager in Adelaide to the Cathedral of Golf in Los Angeles, the 100th playing of the Genesis Invitational at Riviera.
The contrast could not be starker.
Right.
You go from a festival to a test of pure technical mastery. Riviera is famous for two things that drive pros absolutely crazy: Kikuyu grass and Poa annua greens.
Can we pause there for a second? Because we hear Kikuyu and Poa all the time on broadcasts. Why do they actually matter to the score?
Great question. So Kikuyu is essentially a sponge. It's sticky. If you miss the fairway, the grass literally grabs the hosel of the club. You need immense wrist strength just to advance the ball. And then Poa annua greens, they are bumpy. As the day goes on, the grass grows unevenly. You can hit a perfect putt, and the ball just bounces offline. It requires patience more than anything else.
And the man with the most patience this week was a name that might be new to some listeners, but clearly not for long: Jacob Bridgeman.
A fantastic performance. He wins with an 18 under par total, a 266. But what stood out to me was his composure. He had a 6-shot lead going into Sunday. That is actually one of the hardest positions to be in mentally.
That protect the lead mindset, where you stop playing to win and start playing not to lose.
Exactly. And he played a very safe, Very quiet final round. He shot a 72, didn't make a single birdie in the last 15 holes, but his floor-level consistency was so high that he held off Rory McIlroy and Kurt Kitayama.
That's wild. No birdies in the last 15, and he still wins at Riv.
It speaks to how dominant he was the first 3 days. Statistically, Bridgeman ranked first in strokes gained approach and putting through 54 holes. When you ball strike it that well at Riviera, you build yourself a cushion that allows you to play boring golf on Sunday.
Boring wins trophies, I guess. Okay, let's hop continents again. The DP World Tour was in Nairobi for the magical Kenya Open.
Karen Country Club. Now, this is a venue that requires a completely different mental approach because of the altitude. We're talking nearly 6,000 feet above sea level. The ball flies forever.
So it's not about raw power there.
No, it's about math. It's about trusting that your 7-iron is going to fly 20 yards further than usual. And the winner was KC Jarvis, a 22-year-old South African phenom. He shot 25 under par.
25 under. That is video game scoring.
It is. And he had to deal with weather delays on Sunday, which disrupts your rhythm. He kept his cool, eventually eagling the 72nd hole to win by 3. That is a massive statement win for a young guy.
And quickly, before we move on, we have to mention the LPGA Tour.
Yes, the Honda LPGA Thailand. Gino Thitikul won at home.
Right.
24 under par. The atmosphere there was raucous, very similar to Adelaide, actually, in terms of national pride. It really sets the stage for the upcoming Asia swing.
We also saw Jamie Donaldson win the Stager Marbella Legends in Spain with a final round 64 on the Champions Tour. So just incredible golf everywhere.
Everywhere you looked.
Okay, let's unpack this idea of the global tour ecosystem. Because hearing about all these winners, Jarvis, Kim, Bridgeman, it feels like these tours are connecting more than they used to. Is there actually a pipeline here?
There is, and it's highly intentional. The professional game is no longer siloed. Take the Asian Tour's International Series, for example. We need to stop looking at it as just another tour. It is effectively the primary feeder system for LIV Golf right now.
Because of the promotion spots.
Right. It's meritocratic, the mechanism is clear, do well in the International Series, get into the promotions event, and the top 3 finishers get wild cards into LIV.
So if you're a player like Kazuki Higa, the 2025 Order of Merit winner,
you are circling the International Series Japan in April on your calendar. That is your testing ground. If you perform there, you have a direct path to the biggest purses in the game.
and we saw a similar pathway work for KC Jarvis.
Right. Exactly. Jarvis came up through the Sunshine Tour in South Africa. He used that as a springboard to get his DP World Tour card, and now he's a winner on the DP World Tour. It shows that upward mobility is actually working. The ecosystem is identifying talent in South Africa or Japan and moving them up to the global stage quickly.
Which brings us to the elephant in the room. Rankings. Governance. The truce. We had some actual movement this week.
Major governance news. The DP World Tour officially granted conditional releases to 8 LIV players for the 2026 season.
Who are we talking about here?
Big names. Tyrrell Hatton, Adrian Meronk, David Puig.
So what's the deal? They can just come back and play whenever they want.
No, there are strings attached. They have to pay their fines, which are significant. They have to withdraw any legal appeals they had pending. And they have to commit to playing a certain number of DP World Tour events.
Why would they agree to pay fines and admit guilt, essentially?
One reason. The Ryder Cup. For a guy like Tyrrell Hatton, this is the only way to remain eligible for the European team without needing a captain's pick or facing eligibility blocks. It's a pragmatic solution to keep the best Europeans available for the team.
That makes sense. But what about the world rankings? The OWGR. That's been the sticking point for years now.
This is where it gets really technical and a bit controversial. There was an update for LIV. They are now getting OWGR points.
Finally.
But there's a huge catch. Points are only awarded to the top 10 finishers.
Because of the small field size.
Exactly. Because it's a 57-player field, the algorithm penalizes the bottom half heavily, so the variance is incredibly high. Anthony Kim, because he won, jumped 600 spots in the world rankings in 1 week.
Massive jump.
But if you finish 11th, you get 0 points.
Ouch. So 11th place is the same as last place in the eyes of the rankings.
In the eyes of the ranking algorithm, yes. So now you're seeing a strategic shift. LIV players are actively scheduling co-sanctioned events, like on the Asian Tour, just to supplement their points because they can't rely solely on finishing top 10 every single week in LIV.
That adds a whole new layer of strategy to their schedules. Speaking of strategy and momentum, let's look at who is actually trending up right now. You mentioned Bridgeman is for real.
Bridgeman is the real deal. This win wasn't a fluke. He has 5 consecutive top 20s this season. He has transformed his game from being a volatile bomber, which is fun but risky, to this low-variance precision style. He's now #1 in the FedEx Cup.
I want to ask you about Tony Finau. He didn't win this week, but I feel like his name keeps popping up in the data.
If you look closely at Finau, the narrative is shifting. He finished 18th at Pebble, 11th at Torrey. He hasn't won yet in 2026, but his putting, which has historically been his Achilles heel, is trending way up. He gained over 8 strokes on the greens at Pebble.
That's huge for him. Usually if he putts well, he wins.
The issue right now is actually his driving. He's ranked 110th off the tee. If he fixes the driver and keeps this new putting form, he is a massive threat for the upcoming Florida swing.
Okay, I want to shift gears to the business side. We keep hearing about golf becoming a destination product. I saw something about the Mexico Open that really highlights this, but I feel like it got buried under the Anthony Kim news.
It did, but it's a brilliant strategic shift. The Mexico Open announced they are moving the tournament to the FedEx Cup fall, late October to early November.
Why move it? Is it just about weather?
It's about culture and economics. They are aligning it with Dia de Muertos, Day of the Dead, and the opening of the Vedanta World luxury theme park.
Ah, I see. It's not just golf.
Exactly. It's about monetizing dwell time. That's the buzzword right now. They don't just want you to buy a ticket to watch golf for 4 hours. They want you booking the hotel, going to the Cirque du Soleil show, eating at the resort restaurants. It becomes a vacation where a golf tournament happens to be taking place.
Which sounds exactly like what happened in Adelaide.
Precisely. 115,000 fans. That proves that golf can drive regional economics. It's the festival first model. If you make the event cool enough, people will come even if they don't know a birdie from a bogey.
And the audience data supports this split, right?
It's a tale of two demographics. The linear TV viewer, the person watching on traditional cable, is averaging 64 years old.
So the traditional base is aging.
But the digital audience, streaming, social clips, YouTube, is the 18 to 34 demographic, and that segment is growing by 5.8%.
So the growth is happening, just not on traditional TV.
Right, and advertisers are noticing. Creator partnerships on YouTube or TikTok are becoming more valuable for reaching young golfers than a 30-second spot on the Sunday broadcast.
That makes total sense. Now let's get nerdy for a second. Equipment. We have guys shooting 25 under. What are they using? I saw some chatter about low-spin drivers.
The big trend right now is the combination of low-spin drivers paired with high-launch shafts. It seems counterintuitive.
Break that down for us. Why do you want low spin but high launch?
So spin creates control, but it kills distance. You have heads like the tailor-made Q4D LS, which Bridgeman and Jarvis both use. It has a carbon face to lower the center of gravity. That kills the spin so the ball doesn't balloon into the air and stall out.
Okay, so it rolls out more when it hits the ground.
Right, but to get it airborne in the first place, they pair it with a shaft that launches it high. So you get a high rainbow flight with almost no spin. That is the holy grail for maximizing distance.
The thing that really caught my eye in the notes and what you teased earlier was the mini driver. I thought those died out years ago.
They are having a massive resurgence. Casey Jarvis used a tailor-made R7 quad, a club from 2004 in Kenya.
A 20-year-old club. That's basically an antique in golf years. Why use that?
Physics. At that altitude in Kenya, a modern driver goes too far. It creates a massive dispersion and might run through the fairway into trouble. But a 3-wood spins too much and gets caught in the wind.
So he went vintage to solve a physics problem.
The mini driver from 2004 is the tactical middle ground. It spins just enough to be controllable, but goes shorter than a modern driver. It's perfect for tight par 4s, where you need distance but control.
That is fascinating. It's not always about the newest tech, it's about the right tool.
Exactly. And speaking of tools, we're also seeing data-driven wedge gapping. Players are using launch monitors, like the ShotScope LM1, to gap their wedges by exactly 4 degrees. They aren't guessing anymore. They know exactly how far each club goes to the yard.
It's become a math problem as much as a sport. So looking at the talent pipeline, where is the next Anthony Kim or Jacob Bridgeman coming from?
The collegiate pipeline is basically a junior pro tour now. Look at Bridgeman. He came out of Clemson, where he was ACC Player of the Year. He arrived on tour ready to win immediately.
They aren't learning on the job anymore.
No. They arrive with pro-level course management and statisticians already on their payroll. And the International Series is accelerating this too. Look at Elvis Smiley.
Great name, by the way.
Fantastic name. He jumped from world number 134 to number 77 just because of strong finishes in Riyadh and Adelaide. The system is identifying talent faster than ever before.
So what are we watching next week? Because the calendar doesn't stop.
The PGA Tour heads to the Florida swing. We start with the Cognizant Classic at PGA National.
The Bear Trap.
The Bear Trap. Holes 15, 16, and 17. The challenge shifts completely now. We are moving from soft West Coast greens to firm Florida Bermuda grass and wind. Wind and water are the enemies next week.
Down the LPGA.
They move to Singapore for the HSBC Women's World Championship. This is huge because there are major ranking implications for the Olympics on the line.
And LIV.
LIV heads to Hong Kong. And this will be the real test for Anthony Kim. Adelaide was wide open, big crowds, lots of energy. Hong Kong is much tighter, much more technical. It's going to test if his ball striking is real or if he just rode that Aussie energy to a win.
It's going to be a fun week.
Hi.
Okay, let's wrap this up. It feels like the game is evolving so fast. New winners, new tech, new governance rules every other week.
If there's one takeaway from this week, it's that the modern player has to be a chameleon. Think about it. You have to adapt from the altitude in Kenya one week to the party atmosphere in Adelaide the next, and now face the wind and water in Florida.
You can't just be one type of player anymore.
No. That mental adaptability, the ability to change your game, and even your equipment, like we saw with the mini driver based on the environment, that is the new skill edge.
Which leaves you with something to chew on as a listener. If the global game keeps expanding into all these extreme, varied environments, from high altitude to sea level winds, will the traditional 14 club limit even survive? Or are we going to see players advocating for larger bags just to carry all the specialized gear they need to compete globally? Something to think about. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive. Keep learning, keep watching, and we'll catch you next time.